Yo, what's good? We back at it again. In today's video, we have another Death Stranding lore explained. The style is going to be a little quicker, a little different, so I hope you enjoy that. The video might still be long, but we're going to get more information into that video, you know what I mean? But it's still big yap, so hope you enjoy, and let's go ahead and stay tuned, and you know what I'm saying, we can get into this story. How we're going to do it is similar to the other one. We're just going to go into the interviews. We're mostly going to go into interviews. When we talk about the actual character's story, you've probably seen it in the game, so I'm going to assume you have. If you haven't, you should probably play the game or something. But I will give like a quick, good old summary in my own words, you could say, about basically what happened to my understanding, you know what I mean? So, hey, take it with a grain of salt. But at the end of the day, what we're doing is we're going to mostly be jumping into the interviews because those are things that a lot of people haven't really delved into or really talk about or really care about a lot of the time, but they're actually pretty cool. Granted, a lot of the time they have information that was already included in the main story, but it's just like a little bit expanded or said in a different way. But either way, yeah, so we're going to tell the story of or look at the interviews, and then we're going to give a quick summary of who they generally are at the end. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go on to, in this video, so we have Mama and Lockne and Fragile, and then with the ones that we're going to be reading, the ones from Mama are Chiral Network 1 and 2, Drones in the Singularity, and then the ones for Lockne are Lockne and Malingen, what became of Lockne, or Malingen and Lockne, and Preppers. Oh, sorry, wait, no, that's the last one. Preppers is actually in Fragile. Fragile's ones are Preppers, Cryptobiotes, Fragile's father and Fragile Express, what became of Fragile, and my mother's Masanga. So the Chiral Network 1 is very simple. She's literally just explaining that she was on like a second group to go head to the west to help, create the Chiral Network. So she's just part of that process in like some like 3-stage like thing. She's trying to make it seem like it's similar to like the Apollo missions, and it's like a 3-stage thing, and it's a process to connect the Chiral Network. That's it. All right, the second one seriously, the second one has at least a little more to it, and in this one it's pretty interesting. She talks about how the beach basically makes it so, how no time really passes in the beach, it just stays at the same point. Well, that's why things don't age. You have, for example, Amelie, who stayed the same age like the whole time, right? So things don't age over there. And if you imagine if Sam was there as a kid that whole time, he would stay a kid. That would make sense, wouldn't it? But it makes it so technically we're time traveling when we go to the beach, because time doesn't really change. So you go to the beach, time doesn't change, you go back to the earth. It's almost like instantaneous because there's no travel time. That's what she's saying. She's saying there's no travel time. You can just put large amounts of data and then just put it there instantly. Imagine if every package or download or everything was instant. No download time, no send time. Every email was immediate. Every download was immediate. Every connection was immediate, right? There's no wait time for a message to send. Nothing. It was immediate. Granted, we're actually already pretty good at that, but I mean like literally immediate. It's just there. The moment you press send, your message is there, right? Probably even the moment before you press send. Probably not, but you know what I mean? Like literally immediate. So she says to think about the light from the stars in the sky, and it was produced so long ago, but we're only seeing it now. But if you go back, like it was produced, like the light that we're seeing, by the way, is literally like years old light, like even thousands. Like it's really old, but we're just seeing it now. So we're seeing the past. So they're saying that she's saying that routing data through the beach, or data, routing data through the beach is like jumping to a point earlier in that journey. Okay, I'm sorry. Thereby cutting it shorter, much shorter. Just imagine massive amounts of data transferred almost instantaneously. She does say almost. That's what we're trying to achieve with the Chiral Network in a nutshell. And she's even saying that they're able to take like specimens, like let's say like a mammoth or I don't know, a dinosaur. They're able to basically reconstruct exactly what they look like, right? She said that we could take the finger bone of a dinosaur, say, and extrapolate from that not only the dinosaur's form, but its composition, internal, external, even its thought processes to a degree. Anything is possible with Chiral computing. Like anything is possible with Chiral computing. Anything, in theory. But that's what she's trying to say, is that they're making a better internet. Making a better internet too. Crazy. But that's basically what that one was about. Then we have Drones in the Singularity. This one's pretty simple. She's basically just saying what she actually said in like a part in the game. She talked about this. I think a lot of these things they've said in the game as well, by the way. Just like out loud or in it, like I said, reworded. But the main point of this is that, they're talking about delivery bots, and it's not bad for them to get destroyed because they're not really alive. And AI doesn't know how to die. It doesn't have the concept, of death. And so it has no real need to fear it. So in that sense, she's saying that that's a limitation that AI can't overcome, is that it can't understand the implications of not being able to exist, and AI will literally, she's saying they will never overcome that. That's the reason it won't ever surpass human intelligence. She may be right, she may be wrong, I don't know, but I would be inclined very well to agree with her. But that's all for Mama. Pretty simple. Then we have Lockne and Malingen. And this one is, she's more talking about their past, how their parents worked for NASA, how their names were made from, relating to a pair of craters that struck the Earth like way long ago. She's saying millions of years. So yeah, they're named after that. And that their names serve as a reminder of this fundamental truth, symbols of our parents' hope that our isolation is only temporary. So they don't want to be isolated. That's kind of their thing. They want to connect. The main thing about their whole story is Mama and Lockne, or Lockne and Malingen. Malingen and Lockne. They want to connect. Deep down, that's what they want. That's the main thing. They want to connect. They will conjoin twins at birth, and they were split at birth, right? But they're also in a way almost like the same people in like just split into two bodies. So they're twins, but they're almost basically the same people split, which you could say twins are, but what I mean is literally the same person. So that's something to be said. They even share emotions, thoughts. They have this twin telepathy, but it's real. No, but twin telepathy is real. Whatever you say, bro. But yeah, then they join bridges because they want to bring people together and reunite the planet and the greater universe that surrounds it. Absolute W. And then we have what became of Malingen and Lockne, literally the last one. And after this, I'll go into their story. I'll just read this one out in its full entirety though. We'd forgotten all about our dream of going to space. It was a dream and earlier, simpler time. I don't know what that, why is it spelled like that? A dream and earlier. Forget it. I don't know why it said that. From before we realized our baby was a BT binding us to the other side, and before we had to sever the link between us. After that, Malingen couldn't even leave the lab, and Lockne swore to live a life of isolation in Mount Knot City. There was no room in our heart for outer space, but now that we're one, it's all become so clear. In choosing isolation, choosing to forget about the outside world, we were just being human. Just doing what everyone else was doing. We turned inwards, venturing deeper and deeper into ourselves, focusing on our inner worlds at the expense of the one we shared. Maybe this is what they mean when they say that the beach is a reflection of the individual soul. We became trapped in the multiverses contained within. But at last, we have a chance to escape. Now that America is whole, we can begin to expand our boundaries once more. The bonds we've forged could carry us beyond these clouds. It's past time we saw the stars again. Well, they're trying to move out. They're trying to go and be somewhere else. They're trying to, I guess, connect. Because the Death Stranding, and of course this is relating to the main story, which we'll get into that later maybe, you know what I'm saying, Amelie and stuff. But basically, with Amelie, she kind of pushed stuff and made it so that we're not gonna have the Stranding right now. We'll have it later. Right? She's like, oh, I'll do it later. She's just gonna stay there and it'll happen later. But for everyone in the world, they're able to move around now, right? They're able to go out, and they don't, the Strandings, I mean, assumedly there's still stuff happening, still bad stuff, but from what it seems like, I don't know if I didn't get a confirmation, but at the end of the game we saw, of course this whole video is spoilers anyway, I'm sorry. You already got it, dude. All right, it's on. Why'd you click the video? I was about to say spoilers, but literally I've been spoiled the whole time. But at the end of the game, Sam walks out with the baby Lou, and him and her didn't have any no Timefall. So what is to be assumed is that Timefall was gone, right? I'm guessing it comes back in some way, but it's assumed that people can actually go outside. Maybe that's wrong. Maybe they're saying that they want to expand just their boundaries and move around and forge bonds and stuff just in general, but it seems like that's what they're trying to say. Maybe I'm wrong. Take that with a grain of salt about the rain not being Timefall anymore, but it's what it seemed like. At least maybe it was just that moment though, but that's what it seems like. But then we can go back in. I mean, this did already explain some of the basics of their story. I mean, if we had to really sum it up easily, which I love to do, I like to make it simple, but basically Mama and Lockne, like I said, they're born conjoined at birth. They got separated, and then later on, Lockne was like this dude or something. I don't know where that's listed, and it wasn't in the interviews that I saw, but it's somewhere. It is somewhere. Might have been the ones that I was just reading, but I didn't see it. So yeah, either way, point is Lockne liked this guy, and then he ended up passing away or something. So they used his sperm, and then made an egg with Mama because Lockne couldn't actually have babies. Whatever. Point is, Mama had that baby that with them being connected, it's technically Lockne's baby because it's Lockne's egg. Whatever. Point is, that baby was born, but like born as a BT. Do I know exactly how? No clue. But the point is, the baby was born. Kojima game. The point is, the baby was born as a BT. All right. And in a way, it was actually, she said in the cutscene that it saved her. So what is to be assumed, and throughout everything else, is that they're one and the same. That's her soul. And she's connected to that part of that place. Because if she leaves her like room that she's in, or the baby dies, like it gets cut off and goes to the beach, that's her soul going to the beach. Because the baby is now conjoined with her soul. They're one and the same. So at least that's what it seems like from the gameplay and how everything was said. Right, I could be wrong, but that's my theory. Based on what she literally was saying in the cutscenes. So with that in mind, that's if she and it's what happens literally when Sam cuts it, she dies. That's it. But apparently her body didn't necrotize. If she would have went out of the room without that, she would have just died anyway, right? Because she's tied to where the BT is. BTs are tied to like a place, right? But her body didn't necrotize, meaning that it didn't like rot or anything like that. And it was just like perfectly, there's no rotting in her body. Her body just stayed the same, like it was alive or something, but she wasn't. It had to do something with like a lot of chiralium in her body, probably because her connection to the beach made it so that it was like this unique phenomenon. She had all this chiralium in her body and stuff. That's when we were taking it to Hartman. He was talking about that. He didn't explain it too well, but that's what is to be assumed, right? About what he was trying to say is with her connection to the beach, her unique connection, she has a lot of chiralium in her body that's keeping her body alive. That's all I can really say. I'm sorry. Kojima game. Hey, confusing as ever. Point is, that's kind of irrelevant. Let's be real. The main point is that her and Lockne, Malingen and Lockne, came together and became one. How did that happen? Apparently, they were already technically one, but just split. So they were one person, just split. So when they came together, one of Lockne's eyes became a different color. And it was like, no, we were both in one body now. It looks like Lockne, but at the same time, it looks like Mama, so it doesn't really matter. It's just different outfit. She doesn't have the glasses, and she has her hair down. It just looks different. That's it. And technically, it is literally Lockne's body, but it has Mama's mind is in there because her body is still like sitting there right there. So yeah, that's it. But yeah, they're all in one, so they just live life like that. That's it. That's really the story, to be real. Of course, they help. They're one of the people that helps get Sam from the beach as well. Same with Hartman, we talked about before. Dead Man, they all using the umbilical cord, like I explained before. I already explained that, right? But yeah, they just went to the beach and they saved him as well. So she was part of that whole journey to locate the beach through, of course, Deadman can go there. And of course, they went through, because they had Amelie or Bridget's umbilical cord, which connected to the beach. And that's kind of the point, is that the umbilical cords connect you to the beach. And what is it? Mama's was like fully intact or whatever. The connection was that her and the baby are really just the same thing. Or rather, that's her soul. The baby's keeping her alive. And she would have died in that wreckage without the baby. I explain it, but I don't actually understand it 100% if I'm being completely real. But you don't really got to. Let's be real. We all want to. I'm explaining stuff. We all want to know exactly what that means, like specifically. But it doesn't always make the sense that you think it would. So, yeah. Sorry to tell you, man. It is what it is, bro. Either way, let's get into Fragile. We got preppers. And I was gonna say what I think about Mama and Lockne's thing. I do like it. I do like the story in general. It's a little confusing, yeah, but I like the idea of these twins who are coming back together and connecting, and how much they wanted to connect so bad. It really just relates to the main story of the game of connecting, right? Which is funny because the second game's talking about should we have connected. But yeah, I think it's going to be interesting how that ties into the second game. I don't think Mama and Lockne have any role to play in the second game, but they might. I don't know. Seems like the story's kind of finished though. But if they do have something to do in the second game, cool. Sounds great. I just don't know. But let's get into Fragile. So this one is sort of talking about her backstory a little bit. She talks about her motivations. She's talking about nowadays. She even talks a little bit political. Kojima talking political through her a little bit. But Fragile says that we used to have a network spanning the whole wide world that could send items from anywhere to anywhere and connect anyone to anything. So internet, transportation stuff, what we have now, right? But she says we were still isolated and alone. And she said that some people liked it that way, and they even wanted more of that. They wanted walls around the borders, referencing Trump. That's a older thing, but still, that's what they're referencing. I don't know what else they reference. I think this next part, they're all referencing Trump. Wanted to turn away refugees and outsiders. Some even wanted new nations all their own. I don't know what that's referencing. in particular, but I don't think that's President Trump. They began to see the state as an enemy of their freedom, not a protector of it, and yeah, that's how people do see it nowadays. So she's the one making the comparisons to political stuff. I know nothing about political stuff, and I'm not even going to try to talk on it. I don't even know. Okay, I don't want to have a conversation. I literally don't want to have a conversation about it either. I really don't care. We're talking about video games, right? I'm not some political schmitical dude. Like I ain't doing all that. You know what I mean? Miss me with that, to be real. But I do like to talk about moral stuff, not like, oh, what is political guy doing? Who's right? Who's wrong political wise? No, I just want to talk about my own morals, right? Which I guess you could say is political, but it's less so focused on particular candidates, but it's instead focused on just values and morals that I have in beliefs. But yeah, a lot of people have been thinking that the state is the enemy of their freedom, and I would actually I would go to agree with that pretty much a lot more as the years go on. It continues to be like that. She said that they didn't trust the country to defend them if something really went wrong. War, terrorism, natural disaster, you name it. You see that in the game with so many people. You have the novelist's son, you have what's the old man on top of the thing? What is he called? The guy on top of the mountain on the right, like the closer to the beginning of the game. I forgot what the guy's name is, but that old man. You have I see a lot of them. A lot of the people that are like in the game are not really fond of you to start. So that's because they don't trust the government anymore. But she was saying that all these problems started before the Stranding, which is kinda funny. Good one, Kojima. But she's saying that people ended up building, because they were so scared, they ended up building, bunkers and all this different stuff where they would live if something happened. And when the Death Stranding happened, they lived there, but they couldn't live there forever. So they relied on preppers, couriers, porters, whatever you want to call it, all these things. They relied on them. But she said that my father and I didn't want to go back to the old America. We didn't want a country that pushed people apart. We wanted one that brought them together, that allowed them to support one another. And that was what we tried to work toward. It's interesting how much Kojima is talking about like American politics. Considering he ain't American. Maybe just something he thought about. Also probably relates to Japan as well. But then we go into more, I guess, less related to real life things and more just in the game, Cryptobiotes. And Cryptobiotes are basically like a power food in a way, because they are able to survive anywhere, and they have the resource. When the resources are scarce and conditions are too harsh or whatever, they can literally survive anything and anywhere with any amount of resources. And she says that, and I didn't even know if this was a thing in the game. I don't know if it works as a game mechanic, but Cryptobiotes actually give you resistance to Timefall. So she said we're gonna kind of try to research them about why they're like this, because we didn't know they existed, but apparently they existed before the Death Stranding. But she's saying that these are definitely very peculiar how they work that way. She doesn't know why though. But yeah. Then we have Fragile's father and Fragile Express. We're going back into a father, recurring topic and importance to her story. This one's a little bit a longer one, but she says her father came up with the name Fragile Express, and that the void outs, when they first happened, were making these craters as far as the eye could see. So everything was getting destroyed, right? With the antimatter colliding with matter, with the BTs, the beach coming to the earth, or connecting very much with it and becoming closer. And all the infrastructure of the US, of course, we've as we've seen, it seems to be not even just the US, but all this infrastructure was just gone. Like, people tried to call on the government, oh, government, help us, but there was no one there, because all the stuff that kept the world turning, all the stuff that made everything work, wasn't there anymore. And people thought about how cameras and microphones were watching and listening and recording. A lot of people didn't like that, but there were those that actually did like it. They found comfort in that. Comfort in the certainty that someone would know what to do or would see them in trouble if they were. Someone had the possibility of helping you. And now with this situation, no one was going to come to save you. No one was looking for you anymore. And that's what the conclusion that she came to, or that a lot of people have been coming to with the Death Stranding. So her father, who was working with a private logistics company, has some friends that figured out, how to bring supplies and all that stuff to people and repair the infrastructure that Americans needed to survive. And that her father cared so much about making America whole again, and he really believed that he could get it all back bit by bit. It was a fragile dream. It's her words, not mine. Like so much back then, but if we nurtured it, if they stayed true, we knew it could be all ours again. Could all be ours again. She says that the people, ideas, connections, they're all so fragile. Stop saying that word. She keeps saying fragile after this. But she says that everything that's worth something is fragile. That's why I was given this name. And no wonder the USA was broken apart so easily. Because it was fragile. It was built with nothing more than a network of people with connections between them, you know? And that's something that we don't really realize, is that we are connected based on all of us following the system. If so many people decide not to, it would all crumble. But we've all decided to believe in following this system. That's why it all works. And then her father, of course, isn't with her anymore, but the bond between us remains, fragile though it is. So she was named fragile by the father because of, you know, how much she was worth. Because she says everything that's worth something is fragile. And I wouldn't say that's always true, but it's partly true, because there are things that, you know, are not fragile, you know, stuff that never cease. You know, we have love, hope, trust, these things, you know, things that aren't physical, right? There's a lot of internal things that aren't really fragile. They're strong. Like, as much as you want to say, for example, love is fragile because it hurts you, it makes you vulnerable, I think it's the strongest thing. Like, there's nothing stronger, right? Because it destroys everything else. It destroys everything that is evil. That's just how it is. That's just how love is. And then we have what became of Fragile. She's still talking about her father, which is obviously important to her story. But she does confirm a question that I asked earlier about how if Mama were able to go outside or something. But she said she wanted her father to see the America that, you know, that we've made and how much we've bring it back, and with Sam helping make it whole. And she was saying that the Death Stranding is still a thing and people aren't free to go where they please. So she is confirming what I was saying, that I don't think that Stranding is actually over just because of that one scene at the end with Sam and Lou not being hit by Timefall. It must have been just that moment. So yeah, Mama and Lockne aren't going out to explore the world. No, they're just connecting more, even if it's, you know, not in the way that they would specifically want, with being able to go outside all they want. And she's just saying like that the UCA is so much bigger than us. It's such a big important thing that she just really wants to keep it together, is what her father really wanted too. And she says that she was obsessed with wrestling, you know, she was wrestling with her past and was obsessed with getting revenge on Higgs, but that past can't be changed. All she can do now is build upon it and help deliver everyone a brighter future. Fragile Express is back in business. And that when it says what became of, that's usually the end. But then we have one more, and then we'll go into basically her main story. She doesn't have much, to be honest. Even though she's in the story a lot, her story is pretty simple. This one's kind of just weird. She talks about how her mother left her, and her dad said, "A heart can only bleed so much. Guard a heart in yours, son, if you're gonna stay unbroken." She didn't know what it meant, but he said that her mother sacrificed everything for a dream of America, a land full of hope where we'd live free. Does that mean she sacrificed us too? And that was his response, saying that a heart can only bleed so much. Guard a heart in yours, some, if you're gonna stay unbroken. And she just said, okay, sure. But she said that she had matching masangas with her mother too. But yeah, she was just saying that she doesn't know what he meant by that statement, but she hopes that he's right, you know. But it seems like a masanga is just a like matching bracelets or something. So yeah, basically they have some friendship bracelets and stuff, and that's about it. But yeah, Fragile's story though is actually pretty simple. I mean, we saw a lot of her backstory, but yeah, I mean, it's what a lot of it was said there, like her, you know, having this delivery service, you know, or her father creating it, and also creating it to bring people back together, like to connect America. And she got help from Sam at times too, but then the question is, why can she like teleport, right? Now we remember that the main point in her story, because we didn't actually see much of her story. Like, we need more of it in the second game. But the main big point of her story is when she was working with Higgs and she didn't like him because he made her, like, there was a bomb and she was meant to blow up a city or something. And basically she didn't want to do it. And he almost got Sam to do the same thing, but he threw it into like the tar. But basically, if she wanted to save the people, she had to go out and get everything, of course, not her face apparently, just because Higgs wanted to be weird, but her whole body with Timefall, and get like aged her whole body if she wanted to throw out and save people. So she saved all these people, threw out the bomb that was going to blow them up, you know, got rid of it, but then she lost something in return. She lost her age on her skin, so she lost time, which is an interesting thing, because you could think about, well, which one would you choose? Like, would you choose your body or would you choose the life of others? I think most of us would choose the life of others, but I'm sure there's someone that would choose not. I wouldn't like them though if they said that. I'd say, well, cool, we don't got time no more. But that's mainly her story, pretty much. Of course, most of the time she was just helping out Sam do stuff, teleporting him places, you know what I mean? But yeah, basically with the jump ability, it seems like from what I'm reading here that she has really high levels of dooms, and that allows her, dooms is just basically a connection to the beach. I don't know why they call it that, but you're just connected to the beach. You can see BTs, you can do different stuff. It's like superpowers, pretty much. And you're just born with it, I guess. But she has high levels of dooms, which gives her more powers, and she can now basically use the beach to, because remember, beach is almost like, remember, they're traveling through the beach to go places, because the beach can just, you know, it's instant, right? You go on the beach, no time passes, you go somewhere else, it's like instant, you're there now, right? So you can see, so that's why it's like teleporting, but it's not really. They're just going through the beach and back out, and they're going to another location, so you can travel very fast, even if they're not really traveling that fast, but there's no time passing. At least I think that's how it works, or that's what it seems. But point is that she's moving through her beach, and some cases she's also moving from beach to beach, and then she will reappear in the material world. So she's traveling through the beach, going to another place, coming back out. That's why it's like a fast travel thing. But yeah, she's not really like just teleporting. She's going through the beach to do it. That's what it seems like is what she's doing based on what I'm reading here for her stuff. But other than that, we'll just have to see how she does in the second game, because she is gonna, you know, do stuff with like Drawbridge. You know, she's not doing no Fragile Express no more. She don't like it like that. That's her father's thing, as we've just seen. And then, you know, they have like that that like big ship DHV Magellan. Yeah, Magellan. And that's like a thing that apparently can jump to different places through like plate gates, is what they're saying, or something like that. We'll have to see how that works. Why am I getting ahead of myself, to be real? The game isn't even out yet. Let's not get ahead of ourselves, okay? That's Death Stranding 2. We're not even there yet, all right? We'll get to it when we get to it. Point is that she's gonna, that's where we start in the new game, is I'm guessing, you know, she has this different stuff. We're going to like Mexico and different places, and we're doing that with this big old ship, you know what I mean? So yeah, we're just kind of going to different places. We're not always just in the same location, which is kind of cool. But yeah, her story is pretty simple, but at the same time, it is a good thing that it is simple. You know, because there's not really much here. Like, I look at all of her story, and it's very short compared to other characters. And it really, what it was said and what you've seen in her story of the game was pretty much it. Like, she doesn't have very many other things to her, right? Of course, what we explained in this from the interviews, yeah, her motivations for sure, yeah. But yeah, she loves Lou. She likes Sam. She has her wants for the America to be, you know, together again, that type of stuff. Just like everyone else, you know what I mean? So there's not really much here, but yeah, she wanted revenge against Higgs, of course, for betraying her. But yeah, that's about it. That's it for this one, though. Yeah, this one was pretty simple. The next one, because that was Mama and Lockne. I won't tell you what the next one is, because I might change my mind. But the ones that we do technically have left are Bridges Staff. This one might not need much to it, but we'll have to check that out. If it's not important, to be honest, I'm not going to do ones that I don't deem as that important. I'll have to read them. Like, if I think the Bridges Staff one are just stupid, I won't include them. But there are some of them that are kind of cool, so we'll have to see about that. But yeah, Bridges Staff is one of them. We've done like Dead Man, Die Hard Man. Now we've done Fragile. We did Heartman. His was a long one. His was the longest. We did Mama and Lockne. But now we also have Preppers. If those are good, then maybe we'll talk about that. I believe the Preppers are the different people you deliver to, so we'll see if that's important. And I'll get to it if it is. Again, no promises on any of these. Higgs is probably one that I want to get to. We'll have to see about that. He has a decent amount of journal entries, so Higgs will probably be a decent one to get to. And we also have Lucy. Lucy's seems pretty interesting. And then we just have other ones. These are literally a section called Other, just kind of other stuff. There's ones that aren't like on a specific character, and some of them are in Other. So, for example, there's even information about Clifford Unger, right? There's stuff about Fragile in there. Literally, extra information about Fragile in there. There's a bunch of stuff in there about there's stuff about dooms, right? There's stuff about in the Bridges Staff. There's stuff about Amelie. There's stuff about tar and how that works. There's chiralium coatings. There's stuff about oxytocin, timefall, power failures. There's a bunch of different stuff in there within these like extra ones that aren't connected always to like a specific character. So those will have to be, if I do make it, and let me know if you want to see it, of course. Those will be in their own video or videos when we get into those. But I don't want to put too much in one video, and yeah, I don't want to go too much into that. So, because then I'll lose track of where everything is, because they're kind of segmented in a weird way. Because the thing is, I already talked about Die Hardman's. I talked about a thing relating to a story. It was in like the President's Ghost or something, and that was in Bridges Staff. Now I have to not include that one in Bridges Staff. I have to remember not to. So let's wait on those. All right, that gives you a teaser. You get to see what. Oh, there's more information about Fragile. See my other video. See my other video. If you want it, let me know and I'll get to it, and we could get into more, because there is technically more information about some of these characters, as well as just other stuff. Like for example, Clifford Unger. Like I said, there's like case review stuff about him. There's stuff about him, but it's not. He doesn't have his own section. That's why. So yeah, let me know what you think. With that in mind, that if we do make more like left, it should be like a maximum of like 4 videos that we have left to make. An absolute maximum. If I combine them all, it's gonna be less. But technically, a maximum of 4 videos, most likely left on this before Death Stranding 2. So keep that in mind. Go ahead and leave a like if you enjoyed. Leave a dislike if you did not. Go ahead and subscribe if you want to see more lore videos, more yap videos, all that good stuff. Go ahead and sub up if you want to. And comment down below what you think. Comment down something amazing or criticism what you don't like. I would love that too. Not always. If your comment is annoying, I literally ignore you. I don't care. I don't care. But if it's something cool, you have something cool to say, let me know. You know what I'm saying? Let me know. I appreciate your support. I appreciate it. But that being said, hope you enjoyed, and I hope to see you in the next video. Peace.